Welcome back to the It's Just Sport podcast, A League of Her Own. I'm Joanna Reardon.
I'm Neve Talon, and today we have Orla O'Dwyer with us. You are currently over in Australia. What's it like over there?
Yeah, great. Delighted to be on your podcast. So thanks for having me. But yeah, loving life here. Looking forward to getting home in the next few weeks.
I was going to say, when you kind of go over, I know we were talking a little bit before, but are you homesick when you're going over, or was it easier this time knowing that the country was on lockdown and you could go to the hairdresser and do Pilates in the park and run around and train in the sun?
Yeah, no, definitely. It was a lot easier this year. Obviously COVID helped a bit with, especially Christmas time and stuff, not been able to get out much. But I think just even in general, having the experience from last year and knowing what to expect, where I was going, and the girls on the team made it a lot easier and more enjoyable. So yeah, I wouldn't say I'm homesick yet anyway.
What was it like, when you got set up over there and, obviously you went over there to play Australian football. How does everybody settle in? There's obviously lots of Irish people over there. Tell us a bit about it.
Yeah, so I was very lucky here when I first came over. In October 2019, the club have just been so welcoming. There's so much involved. Our head coach, and then they've CEOs, and they have special well-being coaches as well to make sure you get settled and that are there to look after you and find you accommodation and get you involved with the team. And I was so surprised at how well all the girls were as well. When I came in 2 years ago, there was actually about 9 or 10 new players coming in. So there was a big group of us that were together, which made it a lot easier. And then obviously coming back this year, we only lost 3 girls and we gained 3 great girls as well into the team. So it was pretty much the same setup. And we didn't lose any real staff or background staff, and physios and doctors were all the same. So it was great for me. Everyone was just so welcoming. I couldn't get over the support, and even when I went back to Ireland, they were all still I know my head coach Craig. They all follow the Tipperary Camogie and football, and they show real interest in that, which is great too.
How fun is it to transfer between a professional setting to obviously the amateur situation, then in Gaelic games, you mentioned special wellbeing officers. I can't really imagine that in a GA environment anytime soon. Maybe there are, maybe I'm out of touch.
Yeah, no, it's great, and I think that's what was when I came over at the start. I was in awe of everything. Brisbane Lions wouldn't be one of the richest or the most established teams with all the fancy setups, but I was still in awe of what they have here. And they had just even the lockers with your name on it and all the gear, and they've just, I think, the 24 access to them kind of doctors, physios, nutritionists. We got DEXA scans, and there's just so much there. There's it's just been great, and they're always there to help you as well, which is huge. And it's kind of just one big kind of family kind of organization, and everyone's kind of involved together, and there's so much in the background, which is huge. And I think they really personalize it. So instead of everyone just having at back home the same set gym program, they kind of personalize it to what your strengths are, what you need to work on, and there's different numbers for every player, and everyone has, let's say, they really focus on rehab and prehab for preventing injury, so everyone has their own prehab program. And then after training, you get into the ice bath, you do recovery, you're on the bikes, and I suppose everyone has their kind of own recovery set up too. So that's huge, and I'm definitely grateful for all that they have here.
What encouraged you to go out there in the first place and give it a go? Because obviously it's a long way from home. What helped you make the decision?
I think originally it was just seeing a few of the other girls, Gaelic football girls, who did come out. So Cora was the first one out, and after seeing her documentary then on TG Cahir, and the likes then the next year, Sarah Rowe, Eilish Constantine, and Ashley McCarthy, who I play with back home with Tip, just seeing how they adapted, and they were all doing pretty well with their team. They were all getting games, and they were all being influential in the game too. So I kind of didn't really know much about AFL and AFLW. I've only kind of heard of the international rules where the men go over and play the Aussie team. But it was, I think we just saw a few highlights in Twitter of some of the girls, and they're kind of the way they were playing. And it kind of looked like a lot of them are keeping their Gaelic style, and it just looked like there was more contact involved looking out from the outside. But I said, yeah, if I got the chance to go over and have a professional sport kind of lifestyle, I definitely grab it with two hands. And yeah, lucky enough, Brisbane Lions just were the kind of chosen team after I applied with cross coders. So yeah, it's been great, and yeah, delighted I came in my second year now. So yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering like how you like decide to go. Like, like you said, you obviously signed up with like cross coders. So like what's like the process? So are you like, hi, I'm Orla, I'm with cross coders, I want to go here? Or do you get like drafted? Like what's the full on like process? So you sign up with cross coders, what happens then?
A few of the girls went through cross coders the year before. They brought out a big group out to Melbourne and did kind of a training camp. With kind of a mixture between Gaelic footballers and Camogie players and other sports too. But essentially, cross coders try and get international kind of players to transfer over to Aussie rules from other sports. So they were telling people if they wanted to apply, and I just applied, sent in clips of me playing Camogie and Gaelic football, and they kind of put a profile together maybe of what your strengths are, your weaknesses, and maybe asking you about maybe how you did in 1K running test and kind of that kind of thing. And they kind of gather a big profile of you as a player and kind of you're just the way you are describing you too as a person. And they send it out to some of the clubs out here in Australia. And I had one or two offers, but then I knew then once Brisbane Lions just started talking to me that they were really keen to keep the way that I play back home, which was huge for me. And I chose them then in the end.
How different do you find the two sports between Gaelic football and AFLW?
There's definitely a lot of similarities between the two, but I think the likes of marking the ball and just the general run off the shoulder. But I think the huge difference is definitely the contact, and it definitely took me a while to get used to that. I think I only started realizing that more this year. Just been getting contact from every direction and being able to actually tackle someone. Looking back at my videos last year, I kind of was doing the more kind of Gaelic style of pressuring the ball instead of actually going in and tackling someone or doing a rundown tackle like they do in AFLW. And also just the rules. There's lots of set plays, and whereas if I was playing Gaelic football, you kind of run anywhere around the field and you stay going for the 60 minutes or as long as you can. Whereas here they have rotations where you rotate every couple of minutes and you're on the bench, and then you have to get ready to go back in a couple of minutes again and bring that kind of 100% intensity again. So I think the style of play and the rules is definitely the hardest to learn, and it does take a good couple of games to get used to that, and I'm still learning as I go.
How like oh God, we did it again. I was just gonna ask like how like mentally demanding is that? Like obviously physically, I'm not saying like your body can kind of get used to it, but like mentally, does it take like that split second longer? And then do you find yourself getting like frustrated and like really annoyed and everyone's like, it's fine, Orla, like it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's just the person I am as well. I hate letting doing something wrong or kind of ruining a drill because I can't kick the ball right or something like that. But yeah, last year definitely the hardest part of the whole experience was the mental side of it, and getting over that you're coming from playing a sport where you've been kind of involved for the last couple of years with Tip, and you're an established player with the Camogie and football, coming into a new team where you don't know anyone, and you're the ones, as I said, breaking down the drills, not able to kick it straight to someone in front of you, not being able to bounce it and it come back up to you, and just simple things like this. And I suppose just getting to know the way the girls play as well was hard last year, and people around you too, and trying to get them to trust you as well, that you can actually mark the ball and run back and kick. And I suppose most Irish players always play on as well because it's our natural instinct with the Gaelic football, which I don't think much of the team appreciated, but I'm learning that. But yeah, definitely it was hard. And I think the rotations as well, because when you think of rotations, I kind of was going back to being subbed off back home, which wouldn't be a good thing. Like, you don't think you're doing well, but it's actually to benefit the team and for you to come back out more refreshed and to kind of add more to the game then. So definitely that was hard getting used to. But I think once, as I said, you just had that experience and you kept talking to the people around you and coaches, that you kind of learn it pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm. So you've had two seasons over there, and you obviously had a very successful season this year. So tell us a bit about the Premiership.
Yeah, it was amazing. I suppose you can kind of compare it to All Ireland final in Croke Park. Just the atmosphere down in Adelaide Oval, and obviously playing in Adelaide Oval. There was mostly Adelaide fans. I'd say there was maybe only 1,000 Brisbane Lions fans and maybe 29,000 Adelaide fans. So it was huge, but walking out was still the same kind of atmosphere. And I suppose the crowd really get around a tackle or a mark or a score, and it was amazing. And obviously to win then was kind of the icing on the cake at the end. But yeah, it was such a great day, such a great experience to get to play in a grand final too in just my second year. So yeah, really privileged and delighted to get the win.
How like cool is it that like you're 2 years into a sport and like no offense to some like Australian like girls who are listening, like you're in the sport like 2 years where some of them might be like busting their ass to like play with Brisbane Lions. Like as you said, it must be just a huge honor like to be this girl from Tipperary who comes over just under 2 years and all of a sudden you have a premiership medal to go with the boot.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, yeah, I really do appreciate the way Brisbane Lions kind of took me on and are developing me as an AFLW player. And I think it's the same, like when you look back at home, like with Tipperary, we don't get to much All Ireland finals. I've only played in Croke Park twice, and luckily enough, I've won twice as well. So I think you really do appreciate those moments when you get on the big stages, whether it's any sport. And you just have to look back at how far you've come and how grateful you are to be there. And I definitely was, and it was, I think, just really cherish the moment because you'll always remember it really in the end of the day.
The celebrations looked really fun. I was like sitting in lockdown in Ireland. I was like, oh, there's Orla. Living her best life.
Yeah. I think, I was so looking forward to it just because I think, I've just been coming straight from, like, obviously last year when our season got postponed or kind of cancelled because of COVID, I had to rush home and into lockdown, then back home, and I could see the girls still out here. They everything was open here, and then coming back into a hard pre-season after doing my quarantine. I think I was just looking forward to that bit of freedom after. But no, it was a great few days, and I think we really did celebrate it, and the whole team stayed together for them couple of days. And we actually sat down in Adelaide that night, the Saturday night, and then came back to Brisbane then and had some functions Sunday, and then Monday was our notorious AFLW Mad Monday, which is very popular here. Something we should bring back to Ireland, I think. But it was great. And then we had our BNF, which is our best and fairest kind of Brisbane Lions Award night, was that Friday. So it was kind of over pretty quickly within the couple of days. But we had some great days and nights.
Talk to us a little bit about the opportunities in sport. Maybe for young girls that might be kind of considering leaving sport, like you've obviously gotten so much out of it.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really important just to stay going with sport. Growing up, I wasn't that great at sport. I was always pretty average, but a big part of my sporting career is definitely my parents who kept encouraging me, and because they were so sporty, I kind of was just growing up with it all along. I think it's hard with girls going through different kind of stages, maybe if they don't think that they're good enough, or if they don't feel like they're enjoying it as much. But I think it's just to stay going at it and to make sure that your friends around you are play sport too. And luckily for me, my best friends all play sport, and we're very grateful for that. And I think it's just really important just to try and better yourself each time. So I outside of just the training and stuff, it's really important just to focus on, like, I really focus on nutrition, sleep and recovery and that kind of thing, and just kind of better yourself. Whereas if it's getting out and practicing, and if it's a running or gym session, it just kind of all adds up. So I think, just stay going. It's a marathon, not a sprint, definitely.
You became kind of like an accidental, well, not accidentally, you became like a bit of a hero because your mom became the hero, to be honest, when she basically was like, oh, we didn't think I was going to do anything, and now look at her, she's flying. Like, it was very nice to see, and I think a lot of girls like took, great like admiration for that, because I think like it was like you're someone that you could easily like follow, like I know obviously you're a professional down in Australia. Like, how much of a impact does that like make on you when you hear like people like wanting to be you, I suppose, when they're older, because your mom was kind of so nice and basically saying it's fine if you're not great, because like you can do great, it's okay.
I think it just makes it really realistic, because when you think of kind of big sporting stars, well, when I was growing up, I always thought, oh, they were naturally born that way, or they were naturally gifted from the age of 3 or 4, kind of a thing. Whereas it definitely does show that like it does come down to this hard work and dedication. And I was the same in school as well. Like I was never bright or anything in school. I think it's just being consistent and wanting to always improve and stuff. And my mom will vouch me on that and say that I was very poor, very, very bad at the start. But yeah, I think it's just having that determination and motivation to keep going is definitely the reason why.
What's it like over in Australia in comparison to Ireland with kind of coverage and support of women's sport? Like you're in a professional setup, which is obviously quite different to something that you would have here. But even kind of the appreciation and respect for women in sport. I know it's a hard question.
No, it's definitely grown. Like the AFLW season is only 5 years old, and to think that 5 years ago there was no women could play AFLW as with a league professionally, really. So just to see the growth in the last couple of years is huge, and even last year compared to this year, their stats, they've gone way up in television rights, and they always charge for the first 4 years. It was free entry to games to get people to go, whereas this year was the first time there was a fee going into games, and they still had huge numbers as well at all the games throughout. So it's definitely grown, and I think because the AFL and the AFLW season are on opposite ends too, so to kind of support your one team the whole year round. So once the AFLW starts and finishes, the men's just starting then, and that's continuing on until our pre-season. So it works out really well, and I think it's really good that especially younger people, boys and girls, kind of see us as the one and not just the men's team or the women's team, and it's kind of just the Brisbane Lions team, which is great to see. And I think it's growing more and more every day, and it's the same back home as well. You can see how much women's sport is improving and stuff, and it's great to see and be a part of too.
Even like the interest in like you down in Australia, like I mean games were on like TG Car, which is like a weird, like I mean you don't really see Australian rules on Irish television like often unless you're like a subscriber of BT or whatever. So like how cool was it that like people here back home could literally follow you because usually you just catch a couple of Instagram highlights. So were you getting more kind of feedback from people at home? Some couch potatoes being like, "Oh, geez, Orla, didn't think that was great." No.
Yeah, no, especially I don't think I really like realized how big the support was until that grand final. I was just in shock at how much people tuned in, and a lot of people didn't even just watch the highlights that evening. A lot of people got up early and actually, I think the game was on at 4 or 5 a.m. and actually watched it, so, which is amazing to see. And TJ Carr were great getting on board and showing the games, and I think it's really what younger girls wanted to see. Like even when I first had showed interest in AFL, I couldn't watch it anywhere. I didn't really know how to see it. I'd be googling the odd YouTube clips, but the men's would always come up, kind of a thing. But yeah, no, it's great to see, and I think all the Irish girls out here will say that the support has been phenomenal, and even just the amount of people that tune in and show interest in it, and having that show then of the highlights of all the games on at the weekend. I know a lot of people were really looking forward to that and interested in that, especially since there wasn't much else going on back home. And I think once you're a sports lover, you kind of watch any sport that's on, and I think that's the way a lot of people were. So it was great.
Yeah, definitely. It's so exciting to have so many Irish people, competing over there, and obviously, to get another Irish win is brilliant. Thanks a million for taking the time to chat to us. We wish you the best of luck in the future endeavours and all the different sports that you're playing, and thanks again.
Thanks so much for having me. I'm really enjoying it.
Best of luck, anyways. Best of luck, anyways, with the future. No doubt you'll have a couple of Brisbane Lions. We have to get jerseys, Niamh. That's the next thing. We have to get jerseys.
Sounds good.
Definitely. Good luck with your hairdressing appointment.